How come the moon goes from here to here to here to here twice a month? Twice a month. Ba, 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 ba. Is the Earth doing this twice a month?
Physics and logic on a level supreme. It's a curved reality, splitting flurf dreams.
Hey folks, how's it going? Curious UK here. So I'm happy checking out one of Mikey's latest live streams, and he decided to he tried to discuss the globe model, and he pretty much shows and proves to the whole world how little he knows about the globe and how it works in the heliocentric model. So he's trying to talk about star trails here, and it becomes very obvious very quickly just how stupid and uninformed he is. He's trying to debunk the globe model and ends up just kind of showing us how little he actually knows about it. And this is why he often ends up proving the globe instead of disproving it. He never actually proves the flat Earth, because obviously he doesn't know much about either one. So let's check it out and see. Don't forget to click the like button down below. Smash the subscribe button, costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me out loads. Thanks for watching.
Globe deal here. Let me bring up my screen here a little bigger. So, as you know, you've seen time-lapse videos of the stars doing what exactly? Making a circle, correct? That's what they do. They do a circle pattern in the sky, just like this, as if you were going to spin a very large frisbee above your head, right?
Well, yes, you know, Mikey. At the poles, if you're closer to the North or South Pole, then you'll see the spin of like the star trails, which will tend to rotate around a central point, axis point. So the North, it tends to rotate above the northern pole, which Polaris is pretty close. It's about half degree off each side, so full degree, but it looks like Polaris, unless you are zoomed in on it and you watch over time, you'll see Polaris actually does a little tiny circle. And in the south, it would go around Sigma Octantis in the Southern Cross. Other than that, then you'll see that the rotations will go out to further and further. Now, in the Northern Hemisphere, the star rotations will go in a counterclockwise rotation, and in the Southern Hemisphere, they go to a clockwise rotation. Now, if you're at the pole, the equator, if you go at the equator, you'll notice that if you look straight up, you're standing at the equator, the stars will actually go above your head from east to west in a straight line, and then as you look a bit south, you'll see them start curving one way, and a bit north, you'll see them start curving the other way. And there's many pictures and videos to show this, but you'll see that rotation spin close to the poles, and at the equator you'll see that they'll be kind of going a straight line with then starting to diverge each way.
It's spinning. This is rotating, not spinning. This is rotating. Spinning is a frisbee above your head. Just doing this. That's what the stars are doing, right?
From a reference frame standing on the Earth, then yeah, it looks like the stars are spinning. But it's because the Earth is rotating 15 degrees per hour. The stars, for the most part, are over a night will stay in one spot. If you look over a long time and track them, the stars do actually move, and there is some that move more than others, depending on how close and how far away they are. If they're closer to us, then we'll see a bit more, and that's what we call parallax. Ones that are further away won't see as much. So that's why we can see the parallax. Ones that are closer, we can see there's shifts. And there is actually videos of showing this where people have done like long exposure, done many pictures over a long time of the same portion of the sky, and you'll see where some stars have actually moved in relation to ones that are further away. And this was proven back in the 1800s when they're eventually able to have enough magnification on the telescopes to observe this and had good enough optics. Before that, you had obviously James Bradley was trying to prove this by measuring the parallax, but he wasn't able to do it. His optics weren't good enough. But he actually did prove the operation of stars, which then showed evidence of the Earth rotating around, orbiting around the sun. So, yeah, that is something you do see, but for the most part, overnight you won't see that. And so you'll see, because the Earth is moving from the reference frame of the Earth's rotation, then it does look like the stars are doing it on the northern hemisphere. Obviously, said they'll do it counterclockwise. Southern hemisphere looks like they do it clockwise positions. So, yeah.
Because the sun and the moon go in this direction to the northwest, and they come back from the northeast, just like this, every single day. They are rotating above your heads.
The sun and moon are not rotating above our heads. We see the sun in the northern hemisphere. We'll tend to see where the sun will rise in the northeast and set in the northwest. And that obviously varies on how much the degree is by if it's winter or summer. And in the southern hemisphere, like in Australia and stuff, they actually, especially now, like I think we're in January, they'll see that the sun will actually rise south of east and set south of west. And that actually is evidence of the globe and falsifies the flat Earth model, because the flat Earth, their model that they use for the sun floating above a flat disk, that wouldn't work. As well as the length of days in the summertime as well, doesn't work on the flat Earth model as well, unless they speed the sun up somehow and make the sun go higher for magical reasons. But then if the sun speeds up, then days would actually be shorter because the sun would be flying past, because they have to make a larger circle when in the summertime on the flat Earth, because it's a larger circle. So to make the 24 hours to come around, they have to speed the sun up, but then if the sun's going past you faster, your days are going to be shorter. Contradicts itself. Doesn't work.
Okay, so which head are you going to be? Are you going to be the guy on the equator, or are you going to be the guy in North America, Northern Canada, or are you going to be the guy in Chile? You're going to have to pick one, because all these three dudes are not going to see the stars rotate above their heads.
Well, I mean, yes, he's right and he's kind of wrong on that. The guy in the Northern Hemisphere and the guy in the Southern Hemisphere, so you see Northern Canada and down Chile, they will see the star rotations, but they will rotate in opposite ways. The guy at the equator will see a straight line straight above his head, and then if he looks south, he'll see looks like an arch, depending on where he is. If he's got high enough altitude, he may actually be able to see stigmoctantus, and depending on which side of the equator he's on. You might see this Polaris kind of on the horizon if he's got a little bit of enough altitude and stuff like that. But you won't see it going above his head. Not really anybody really sees it going above their head so much, unless you're standing at the pole. So if you're standing at the South Pole at Amundsen Scott Station, then you would see the stars rotating above your head, because you'd be standing at the pole, the geographic pole. And if you're out in the middle of the Arctic Ocean during the summertime, then you might see the star rotations rotating counterclockwise above your head if you look straight up. But you'd have to be kind of at the geographic North Pole, which there is no land up there. Flat Earth is trying to claim there's some big magical mountain up there. It's not there. It's never been seen. There's ships that go past it all the time, and some flights, and there's never been a mountain seen there. So no, it's just ocean up there, and ice in the winter time. Like now, there'd be ice up there, and that's why sometimes people can go up there right now, only because it's just massive ice sheets. So, but that's the only time you'll see them actually rotating above your head.
Like we all do, right? Remember, this is your pathetic model.
Which, as we can see by this time already, Mikey doesn't have a fucking clue how it works or anything about it. This explains why he's a flat earther.
Okay. Remember, the Earth tilts, right? I guess so. That's why the sun goes from here to here. What about the moon, morons? How come the moon goes from here to here to here to here twice a month? Is the Earth doing this twice a month?
Wow, like I said, Mikey doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about when he's trying to explain the globe model, and this is why he doesn't understand it, why he often ends up proving the globe and not the flat Earth. And this is probably why I use a flare. So I'll explain to you why the moon does that, and why we see it at different points. It's actually not that difficult. Because the moon is actually on its own orbital plane where it orbits around the Earth, and it's about 5 degrees off from the equator. So at some points it's actually slightly above the equator, and other points it's slightly below the equator, depending where it is on its orbital path. And when we see eclipses, lunar eclipses in particular, or solar eclipses, doesn't matter. There's only 2 times in the year, and that's when we are on a certain point of the sun, where the sun, orbit around the sun, where the orbital path crosses the equator, where it sits in front of us. So that's why we don't have to see eclipses, solar or lunar eclipses, in the summer or the winter time, and that's because we're at a certain point in which, where the moon crosses where the sun would be, the moon is actually slightly above it or slightly below it. And then in the spring and fall time, we're at that point there where the moon's orbit comes across like this, and it was sitting, and as it's crossing its orbital plane, that it actually will go in between us and the sun, or the sun, or we go in between the moon and the sun. So that's why we only see eclipses at certain times of the year, twice a year, and those certain points. And it's because of the orbital plane that the moon sits on. And the moon's orbit is also elliptical a bit. It's not perfectly circular. So that's why sometimes the moon looks a little bit bigger, sometimes it looks a little bit smaller, and it depends where it is in its orbit. That's why it does that. If Mikey actually done any research whatsoever, he'd know all this stuff. Like, he thinks he's like some sort of like astrophotography expert and stuff, but yeah, he doesn't even know the basics of this. Wow.
Going from the southern horizon to the northern horizon, southern horizon. We're a big, jolly, happy ball, boop-a-doop-a-doo. Hold on, I gotta check my messages here. Anyways, pick your poison here, folks. Remember, we're going to pretend we're this guy here on the equator. Now show me how the stars are going to circle above his head. Okay, remember the stars are out this way, supposedly, towards you. Now the stars are going to circle around his head like this, correct?
No, not correct whatsoever. Nobody in the globe has ever said that the stars are going to rotate like this over the equator. Never said that. If you looked a little bit, even Mikey, 1 iota, there's many pictures showing this, over the equator, the stars will actually have a path go like this, and then as you go north, it'll start to curve one way, and south it'll start to curve another way. And if you look south, you'll start to see an arch, or maybe even a little bit of the clockwise rotation. And if you look north, you'll see the arch going the other way, going counterclockwise. And if you're just above the equator or high enough altitude, you might see a little bit of the counterclockwise rotation around the center point. But definitely will never see the stars doing this, a circle above your head at the equator. That doesn't happen.
Because that's what they do. You see this with your own 2 eyes. Why are the stars circling around this guy's head when the Earth rotates like this? The stars should be doing this through the sky. As you see, here comes Jupiter. Oh, there comes Mars. Oh, here comes Orion's belt. Oh, there comes the Big Dipper. Oh.
That's exactly what we see, Mikey. Here, it's a picture from Ecuador. As you can see right in the middle, the star rotations go up and down, and to the north, they start to curve one way, and to the south, they start to curve the other way. It's exactly what we see on the globe, because the Earth is a globe, and this is exactly what you expect to see, and what we do see in reality.
Remember, the Earth is rotating, right, guys? Okay, now let's move to this guy. How are the stars going to rotate above this guy's head? Like this? Just like this, right? Because it goes in a circle pattern. In the night sky, we see the stars doing this every single night. The moon and the sun and all the constellations move like this in the night sky. Correct? Or maybe is it the earth doing this? Is it going like this? Is it wobbling? Does it have a wobbling effect? Or hold on, maybe it's this guy. We got to put the stars above his head, remember? So maybe it's like this. Maybe the earth does this. Because remember, it's a circle pattern. Or maybe it's like this. Maybe the earth wobbles like this. I don't know.
No, Mikey, you really don't know, because if it did any of those motions whatsoever, it'd be pretty freaking wonky and weird. All you're doing is just proving to everybody just how little you actually know about the heliocentric globe model. And you think you could debunk it, but yet you seem to know absolutely nothing about it. You don't know how it works, you don't know how the rotations work, you don't know how the star trails work, and yet you seem to put yourself out as some sort of expert.
Here we are down in Chile. South is not down, by the way, folks. Hello. What about down north? Can you not go down north? What about up south? Okay. Now, where are the stars? Are the stars over here now? They're going to rotate above this guy's head, right? Because the earth is spinning, right? It's spinning, according to them.
That's not spinning, that's wobbling. This isn't difficult. I mean, do you not even know even the very, very basics about geometry and what a spinning sphere looks like compared to a wobbling one? Like, holy shit, Mikey. I mean, come on. I thought you at least knew the basic stuff. That's like grade 3 stuff. I mean, I'm sure you at least passed grade 6, didn't you? But I could be wrong. I'll give the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But yeah, and also in Chile, you wouldn't see it going rotating above his head. You'd have to look south, because that's where the point of rotation is, south, above the southern geographic pole at Sigma Octantis. Or, you know, you could say the Southern Cross, because Sigma Octantis, it's there, but it's a really dim star, really hard to see. If you're in a really, really dark sky area, then you probably could see it. But if you're anywhere you got a little bit of light pollution, hard to see, so they usually just use the Southern Cross.
Like this, correct? The earth is actually, it's east to west. So it's like this. So I'm not sure how the stars are going to make a circle pattern above any of these guys' heads on this rotating piece of dog manure. Okay? So again, this is your model, Globies. Explain this model to me, please.
The thing is this model and these things we explained to Mikey countless times. I've tried to explain it to a few times. Many other people, Astronomy Live, Red's Rhetoric, we've all tried to explain it to him. Mikey just simply refuses to listen, and he refuses to remember or accept it. And all he does is, if you try to explain it to him, he just shouts no, and then he'll either kick you out if you're on his live stream, or he'll just start talking over you, or he'll run away if he's on your live stream. MC2, we've all tried to explain this to many times. Mikey's refuses to accept it. In fact, on this live stream he's on, he had tried to have people come on and explain it, because this is his first presentation, and then as soon as people explained it, he'd shout no and then kick him off his panel. So he didn't want the truth at all.
Please. How the stars rotate around this guy's head, and this guy's head, and this guy's head, all in the same direction. Good luck. Moving on.
Like I said, Mikey doesn't understand even the very basics of the star rotations of the globe. One, they don't go in the same direction. They have the northern and southern poles have different opposite rotational directions. One's counterclockwise, one's clockwise, and above the equator, as I showed you, the stars straight above somebody's head will actually go in a straight line, and then they'll start to curve clockwise to the south and counterclockwise to the north. Now, I did a demonstration of this using my globe. I had some party lights, so it's not the best. I'll get some other lights somewhere else, but and I showed how this could actually work. The globe, we're just holding my phone up there and rotating the globe. So let's have a little look and see. That's only a quick demonstration. So I was just holding the camera kind of on the globe and just turning it. So it may have actually moved a little bit, my hand up and down. but you get the general idea. This is looking straight up from the pole, or as close as I get to the peg. And as you can see, the rotation works perfectly fine. So I tried it a couple times here just to kind of give you a concept. So I'm going to set it right there, set it on there, and as you can see, as you turn, you can see how the rotation kind of works. If I had it like strapped to the top, it'd probably work better. But I switched it up because I'm using like the big bally things to get a wider field of view, so that we can get on the floor. Right. Once again, using the globe. So we're gonna set it on here and watch as I rotate the globe. I'll start over here and come around. And this I'm going to set it at the equator, and you'll see it go from a straight line. Now, they weren't the best demonstrations. I probably could have done a lot better if I took a bit more time to set it up. I only just did it quickly after seeing that live stream and thought I'd just kind of see if I could set something up really quick. Now, I'm going to show you Globe Face. He took a bit more time, thought about it a bit more. I'll show you his demonstration. He was able to demonstrate it a bit more better, so we'll have a look at what he's done. But he did something along the same lines.
Low on TikTok, call that the cesspool of flat Earth over there. So I just wanted to bring over to you something today from Flat Earth Land. I've been hearing from several flat earthers on TikTok lately that the star trails at the equator are impossible on a globe Earth. Now, they won't ever explain how this is possible on a flat Earth. We all know that's impossible, but they just focus on the globe. You know, we like to call them globe deniers. So I decided to recreate them in my house, and this was the long exposure picture I got using some fake green stars like a projector. Pretty close. If I had a wider angle, it'd be even better, but you can see the curvature on each side curving away, and then the straight vertical star trails at the equator, which we'd expect on a globe because a globe is spherical. Examples how I created them right here with the stars projected here, and I rotated the camera there using a long exposure setting on my camera. This is mimicking rotation at the equator, right? So it's parallel to the axis of rotation here, and quite simply got that. That's the one I got from that. Okay, so we're going to check out the screen recording of the screen of that camera here. Watch how they form and then curve away in opposite directions from the bottom up. That's clockwise, counterclockwise. So the point of this was not to show the southern and northern star rotations. It was to show the star rotations from the equator, because that was the question asked. But I did turn the camera left and try it out, and you could see the star trails. They circle. You could see where the central point would be. It would be somewhere over here. I didn't have enough curtain to project all the lights onto, but that's the central part of rotation, right? This is impossible on a flat Earth for obvious reasons. There's no South Pole. You could never get a central point of rotation around one point. This is looking south from Australia. Okay, here's what it would look like on flat Earth, right? The stars would be sweeping, you know, east to west, straight across your field of vision. No central point of rotation because they're circling around the dome. I have yet to run into a flat earther who can visualize anything in 3 dimensions. They look at star trails in the south and they go, yeah, that only works on a flat Earth. Does it? 2 pole stars, having 2 pole stars, Polaris and Sigma Octantis, that align with the axis of rotation of Earth, only works on a flat Earth, does it? Interesting. Earth's a globe, guys.
Alright, so let's pretend that my countertop is the flat, stationary, non-rotating Earth, right? And this is the magical dome that a god put over top that is never can be reached, can never be broken, blah blah blah, right? So what Austin's saying is that somebody's inside the dome and outside the dome, because it's the only piece of glass I can think there, flat earthers say. Now, a little demonstration to show you kind of where we're going with this. So let's just picture that this is the flat stationary Earth. This is the dome rotating over top of it. Now I'm turning it clockwise, and this should be like looking south towards the ice wall. As you see, it doesn't really make sense at all. It doesn't show star trails. Alright, so this is going to show the angles to Polaris, and we're going to look at the flat Earth. And you'll notice that as you go to different lines of latitude, it just doesn't work. The height of Polaris would have to change and drop down. I've got a video of that on this that shows. So you'll notice that the position of Polaris won't work on the flat Earth. If you go to different points of latitude and stuff like that, the Polaris altitude change up and down. And same thing with the Sigma Octantis or Polaris Australis. We'll look and see how it doesn't work on the flat Earth whatsoever. We're going to check it out and see how it's just the angles just don't work at all. But as soon as you take and put the Gleason map to the globe that it's actually derived from, you see how all the angles work out perfectly fine and there's no problem whatsoever. This is why the star trails work perfectly on the globe but don't work on a flat Earth whatsoever. Now here, so that was my demonstration that you've just seen there, showing how two of my videos I put up. One shows that if you had the dome moving, like Mikey Smith likes to say, that on a flat Earth, the dome moves above us, that the star rotations on the south would be going like this across, right? And then as you looked up, it's going one way, which we don't see that in reality, right? If you look at the south, we have the clockwise rotation around the center point. And then we're further south, the higher up the Sigma Octantis and the Southern Cross gets, and you'll see that more and more in the rotation. So that's what we see in reality, right? What we don't see is a dome moving, and as you look, the stars start doing this, and it's like that, it's kind of like that. Eventually, like, if you look at the horizon, all you do is you see the stars, time lapse, you're going across the same way as you go up. So you'd be going past you, probably going from left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, and then you'd be going anti-clockwise, right? We don't see that. So I just proved that. So now the last thing I'm going to show, I obviously showed the angles to Polaris and Sigma Octantis don't work on the flat Earth whatsoever. You have to keep moving, the stars would be at different altitudes, stuff like that. Doesn't work. Or your distances of the latitude lines would actually be further and further apart because it wouldn't work as well. As well as the fact that if you're, no matter where you are on the Earth, if you're in the north, you'd see Sigma Octantis and the Southern Cross, which we don't. And in the southern hemisphere, you'd be able to see Polaris all the time, which you can't. And I verified this with speaking with several people from Australia. All have confirmed that they cannot see Sigma Octantis, as well as the crew who went down to the final experiment. They actually looked and they could not see. Australia couldn't see Polaris, as well as people who went down to Chile, that they could not see Polaris when they tried to look. The ones who were from Northern Hemisphere went down there, knowing what to look at. They couldn't see it. So now, one last thing is going to show is what the star rotations a bit better. Once again, by Globeface, and he shows what would happen if we're standing at the poles, and the star rotations, what we see. And so he's going to put it on a sphere, hangs it, and then turns it so obviously there's two cameras, so they're both looking opposite ways, and what we see, and then he'll show these star rotations. So let's have a look. He was just able to set it up and do it. So if he's already done the work, I might as well just give him a little bit of credit for it. But let's check out and see what Globe shows here.
So, you want to know why the northern stars rotate counterclockwise and the southern stars rotate clockwise, do you? Okay, let's do that. Flat earthers will have you believe that this doesn't even work on a globe. They'll do things like put CGI cartoons on the ball spinning the wrong way. The earth spins the other way and tell you it doesn't work. But we can expose this lie for what it really is. If you were to have an observer on the Northern Hemisphere looking up and one on the bottom in the Southern Hemisphere looking down, which is really their up, but down in my video, you get opposite rotations of the stars. Notice the counterclockwise motion in the top and the clockwise motion down here. Both observers would indeed be spinning from west to east along the same path of the globe, yet we get different observations of star rotations. And while flirtsexuals will show you the rotation in the wrong direction and then act like it's impossible on the globe, well, no shit, you're doing it in the wrong direction. We can model it perfectly on a globe simply with a string and 2 cameras. Earth's a globe. I love ya.
There you have it. Another fantastic demonstration by Globe Globeface. Check out his channel. He's on YouTube. Not so much anymore because I think his life, like family, work and stuff, sort of got in the way. But he's also in TikTok too. Same name. So it's Globe Globeface with a Y. So check him out and see. But yeah, he's done a lot of things. I think he's an engineer for a aerospace engineer or something like that. So a brilliant guy and quite fun to watch. So yeah, that's it. So Mikey Smith, 100% easy to explain and demonstrate and model using the globe. I would suggest that you learn what the globe model is, because it's very obvious that you have not a clue what you're talking about, and you're just kind of straw manning it, I guess, but really, really, really badly. I mean, holy shit, man. I thought you said you knew all this stuff, but obviously you don't know. This is probably why you're a flat earther. But yeah, that's it. So remember, people, it's definitely a globe. Space is real, but don't forget, stay curious. Thanks for coming. I'll see you again. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the like button down below.
Stuff like that's why people quit flat earth, dude. You know? That's why people quit, dude.